Still trying to get over there. So let's see. Yeah, there we are. Still trying to get over there. So let's see. Okay, I'm going to kill that. All right, we're there, Ed. Are you there?
You want me to look at the YouTube?
Go to YouTube, Rotary. Let me see. What's the name of it?
Yeah, I've got it here. I just got to refresh it. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Maloney test live now.
So now let me get there. I've got a.
Yeah, Mark. Okay, I can see us on YouTube. I got a post ready that says Facebook's having trouble. Please go to YouTube. If you want me to put it up, I'll put it up.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me get it up here on my page. Because I think what we're going to do is maybe we won't even kill this one.
Just keep this meeting up.
Well, I don't know if he can join. I wonder if he can join us.
I think he can. If he comes into this meeting, he's going to show up here on YouTube.
I would think so. I'm trying to get it up on my page. I've got my channel up. Your channel. Oh, there we are, live now. Okay. There he is. Okay. Okay, good. All right. Can you copy this?
Yes.
Copy the link. I'm going to go down and change the title. I don't know if I can do that or not. Let's do that. Let's not drop out of here. What do you think?
Just keep this one.
Yeah. And I can put up those slides. And we can go from there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to post it right now unless you tell me different.
No, go ahead.
All right.
Hey, you know what you're going to have? No, I guess he'll still go to the same place, wouldn't he? Yeah. Okay, you hear me, Ed? Ed, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I had my microphone muted.
Okay, I'm gonna put up the slides and see what happens. Okay. Are you seeing my account? Is that what you're seeing? What do you see? What are you seeing, Ed? Anything? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it looks good. It's scrolling the pictures across and looks like a real meeting.
Cool. Well, that's going to be a real bummer because a lot of people are going to really be lost now. They're going to say, "But what's YouTube, right?" I should maybe send out maybe I'll send out a quick email to the world. What do you think? How do I, Ed, can you capture the URL for this and send it to me? Because I don't see where it's, yeah, I can't hear you, Ed. There.
I'll put it in the comments on the Zoom.
Okay, because I'm gonna send out a quick email to everybody. Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was. All right, you got him again, right?
Yes, everything looks good.
All right, now I just got to wait for Mark to show up. I sure hope he can join us. I don't know why not. Well, this goes to show you why we got to practice.
We did pretty good with the plan B.
Yeah, well, luckily there was a plan B. Is it rotating? I haven't even been paying attention. I've been screwing around.
It appears to be stuck on the district conference postponed slide. Nope,
Yeah.
it's rotating.
Yeah, I just changed it. Yeah.
Okay.
I manually changed it. I'm assuming this is recording as well.
It is. You're on right now. Don't say anything you don't want read back to you at a deposition.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a drink of water, Greg. I'll be right back.
All right. Hey, Mark. I don't hear you. Okay. Talk again.
Okay.
There we go.
Hello.
Here we go.
You didn't hear me because I hadn't said anything.
Well, that is a requirement, I guess, isn't it? So we had to, what we're doing now is we're on YouTube Live instead of Facebook Live because Facebook's not working for some reason. So we had an alternative.
So we're not starting for another 15 minutes?
Yeah. Because I just sent out a email to the district. So let's give them a chance because they're going to be all over YouTube wondering how to get hooked up. And then, so we just got this figured out in the last 5 minutes. So how's things in Decatur? Is it quiet? You got anything going on with COVID?
Well, I'm not sure how many cases there are in the county. I've lost track. I mean, on Friday, there were only 2 or 3, but I think it's probably a dozen or 20 now. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Madison County, which is Huntsville, is the second largest number of cases in the state, but it's also, I think, the second largest county in the state too.
Right, which you'd expect, yeah. Yeah, that's just like Nashville has a lot of cases. I don't know about Memphis, but I know Nashville does.
And, my brother-in-law tours with John Prine,
Oh,
and
really?
John Prine has come down with it. And so,
Yeah. Huh.
And I haven't, anyway. So, but it's overcast here and dreary. I mean, there's hardly any traffic, but
How
we're
big
here at the law firm.
how big a town is Decatur, Mark?
55,000.
Oh, okay, that's good size. That was the first when we did the meeting there last year. It's the first time I've been to Decatur. So
Yeah.
so no popcorn king this year, huh? When is that?
Not last year. It's in September, so we'll see.
Did you missed it last year?
Yes,
You were busy.
I had it all worked out. It's always on the second Saturday of September, and I had it worked out to where there was nothing that needed no institute for that weekend. And then in January, right after the assembly last January, a year ago, I get this Facebook message that Popcorn Day has been moved for the first time since 1959. And it was moved a week earlier. Well, we were in Brazil for the Zone Institute. We were going to be, and we were, but they could not find a carnival. My hometown is up in Illinois, is less than 900 people.
Yeah.
And so, they're dealing at the low end of the carnival companies, the midway rides, and they couldn't find anybody, so they rescheduled, and so I had to miss after doing all sorts of work to make sure that I would be available.
Yeah. Jeez.
And
that had to
then,
be frustrating.
so,
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it'll happen this year and I can be there.
Well, I hope so. That'd be nice. Yeah, you haven't missed one in ever, right? Just about.
That's the third one I've missed since '81.
Wow.
I guess it's the third one since I started being the MC in '81, that's the third one I've missed. But that was the first one I'd missed since '93. '93 was, I'd been 25 consecutive as MC.
And you made arrangements to go this year too, or last year too. Bummer. What a bummer. That's too bad. That's too bad.
Gentlemen, it's 2:00. We already have 31 people tuned in on the YouTube screen.
Wow, they managed to get over there.
Seeing us on YouTube, thanks for finding us. The governor and I had some trouble. It appears as though Facebook is having trouble talking to Zoom today. Rotarians are never unable to solve a problem, though. So Greg and I got this meeting broadcast to YouTube, and we We hope you enjoy it. If you got comments about this meeting versus last week, put them in the comments on the right-hand side of the YouTube screen, and we'll respond to those. Our guest today, our very special guest, is Rotary International President Mark Maloney. Mark's coming to us from his home in Decatur, Alabama. Apparently, Mark, you have had to move out of your home in Evanston, Illinois. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. We were there. We left Evanston on Monday, March the 16th, and returned to Decatur.
And
If
Mark
we're
is
going to be,
Rotary Club of Decatur, Alabama. And we're going to start the meeting here at 10 after to give people a chance to come in. We're up to 43 right now, Mr. Governor.
Okay, that's a good deal. And Mark, I'm really pleased you could be with us. So let's just hang on a few more minutes. I sent the email out about 6 or 7 minutes ago, and people are reacting. So that's good.
I've got a couple people from the committee monitoring the various channels in case people can't find us to try to point them in the right direction.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So we'll start the meeting officially about 10 past the hour.
Okay.
you need to oil that chair, Greg.
Yeah, is it picking it up? Yeah. When you start talking, I'll mute myself. This chair's about ready to fall apart.
Greg has a clock that chimes on the hour, so that's how he keeps track of whether or not his Rotary meetings go long.
There you go.
So if you're just tuning in, we've got Rotary International President Mark Maloney with us from Decatur, Alabama today. We're going to officially start the meeting here about 10 past the hour. I know some of you may have had a little bit of a challenge finding us today. The governor and I had to move the meeting from Facebook over to YouTube because there were some issues this morning with Zoom and YouTube being able to talk to each other. So we're glad you're here. There's a share button on the YouTube page. If you see that and you get a friend that texts you or sends you an email and asks you where the meeting is, just share that link with them. That link will take them directly to this live Rotary meeting. It's about 5 minutes after 2 in the Eastern time zone. Our Rotary International President, Mark, I believe, is in the Central time zone where it's 5 after 3 here in Knoxville, 5 after 2 where Mark is. So we'll start the meeting about 10 past. We've got 63 people watching the meeting right now, Mr. Governor. I see members of a lot of clubs coming into the meeting. Got Hartsville, Tennessee, Rotary Club of Tellico Plains, Lebanon, Tennessee, Gatlinburg, Oak Ridge, Cookeville, the Rotary Club of Knoxville, Chattanooga Breakfast Rotary, Chattanooga Downtown Club. I see our past district governor, Beth Stubbs. Hi, Beth. So keep coming in, everybody. We're going to start the meeting about 10 past the hour. It's 7 minutes past the hour. We're going to start the meeting officially in about 3 minutes. We've got 76 people on the YouTube channel right now. For those of you that came in late, the governor and I and Rotary International President Mark Maloney are with you today. And Greg and I had a little trouble connecting Facebook to Zoom today. We didn't have any trouble last week, but this week we kept getting a message from Facebook that they were working on the problem. Rotarians are problem solvers, so we are here on YouTube exactly as scheduled. I've already seen a couple of posts that the link we shared was real easy to get to. So if you have a minute, copy and paste that link into emails to your friends or text messages to your friends that are in your Rotary Club, and they'll be able to find us as well. I had some questions during the week asking whether or not I could watch the meeting if I was not a Rotarian, and the answer is absolutely yes. Anybody that can get on YouTube can watch this meeting with us here today. Governor Greg, we're about 2 minutes out. We're almost up to 80 people coming into the meeting. So we'll start the meeting here in about 2 minutes. All right, Rotary, it's about 10 past the hour. I want to welcome you to our second weekly virtual meeting from the Rotary District 6780 here in East Tennessee. I'm Ed Anderson, your district social media chair. With me, as always, is our district governor, Greg Masiolik, who has placed himself on a beautiful beach on, it looks like a South Sea island somewhere, but no matter where he travels, he's always got his good Rotary shirt with him. Also joining us is our very special guest, Rotary International President Mark Maloney. Mark is coming to us from his home in Decatur, Alabama. He's going to give us a report on what's happening with Rotary in response to the corona pandemic that's going on. And Mark is a member of the Rotary Club of Decatur, Alabama. Governor, we're up to about 88 people watching. If any of our viewers have questions during the meeting for the governor or for President Mark, please post those in the comments. I'll moderate those and make sure those questions get asked during the meeting. Governor?
Yeah, Ed, they might have to hit the chat box to do the questions. I'm not sure if they see that chat box down there.
I think
Well,
you're right.
Thanks, Ed. And Mark, thank you for being with us today. These are crazy times, to say the least. And as we were talking earlier, who would have thunk? But to start, can you just take 5 minutes and say what your year's been like before this train wreck?
Well, first off, let me just say hello to all the Rotarians, Rotaractors, and members of the family of Rotary in District 6780. District 6780 is our neighboring district, one of our neighboring districts to the north. I'm in District 6860 here in Alabama. And of course, your district also has the distinction of having several Rotary International past presidents with John Germ, Jim Lacey, Jim Bomar, and anybody else? I'm not sure, but those three for sure. Okay, well, we've now surged ahead of you here in District 6860. I'm the fourth president from our district. Frank Spain in the early 50s, Roy Hickman in the early 70s, Glenn Estes in our centennial year of 2004, 2005. And speaking of Glenn Estes, his widow, Mary Estes, just died on this past Saturday night or Sunday morning. I got the word she would have been 93 years old tomorrow. And so we're really sorry to learn of her passing, but time moves on. Anyway, Gay and I have just had a fabulous year with this opportunity to serve as the president of Rotary International. You know, over the course, since I was nominated to be president, Gay and I have visited 30 different countries. Now, that's not a real high number compared to some Rotary International presidents. Plus, we would have accumulated several more countries between now and the end of the year, but that's not going to happen. But we have just enjoyed so much being able to meet Rotarians around the world, to get to know what they're doing, and to see the wonderful projects and service that they are undertaking all over the globe. You know, Rotary is very different in various locations. It's far different in Japan than it is here in the United States, and it's different here than it is in Central America. In some places, Rotary provides service that is adding to what is there in the community. But in some parts of the world, Rotary is the social safety net. When you look at parts of India, many, many hospitals are owned and operated by Rotary clubs. Some of those are specialized hospitals, like an eye hospital that I visited in one city in India. And some of them are like the community hospital that exists in Vapi, India, the hometown of past President Kalyan Banerjee. In Guatemala, for example, in the city of Sampango, many of the basic social services are provided by Rotarians and Rotary clubs, whether it is water and sanitation in schools, a nutrition program providing soy milk protein supplements to those less fortunate in the community, taking the residue of that and giving that to some women so that they can have a job baking goods and create an income, and many, many other projects. It's really just amazing. Of course, this is a big year for Rotaract. Rotaract is, you know, Rotary International is now the association of Rotary clubs and Rotaract clubs. And we are striving to create the atmosphere where Rotaractors and Rotarians are partners, and that Rotaractors are not just participants in a Rotary program. And I think we need to reach out to our Rotaractors to encourage them to continue participating and to keep them in the Rotary family. So it's really been an outstanding opportunity for Gay and for me. And, you know, through the first 8.5 months, we've just had a marvelous time. But you know, it's not any less marvelous right now. Even though we're confined to our homes and only go out to walk around the walking trail and to go to the grocery store, I am seeing just tremendous activity among Rotarians around the world. The novelty of a virtual meeting has caught on all over the place. Rotary clubs are getting together, they're staying connected. In some areas, Rotarians are taking on the task of calling some of the members in their clubs, particularly those who live alone or don't have the opportunity to get out at all, to maintain that connection. And Rotarians around the world are undertaking projects to address the current pandemic situation. I have never been more proud to be a Rotarian than I am now.
Yeah, no doubt, Mark, that when it's really treacherous times, Rotary comes through, and you're seeing this. That's why I was curious. You're seeing the bigger picture. Now, yesterday you put out something with Gary Hung about the polio challenges we're having right now. Can you address that?
Yes, Gary Huang, the past Rotary International President Gary Huang, who is the chair of the trustees of the Rotary Foundation, and I issued a letter to all the governors around the world and to other Rotary leaders. We are facing a situation where, because of the social distancing requirements, we cannot, and those countries, well, all countries cannot undertake door-to-door immunization campaigns. It's not possible because it would put too many people at risk for the coronavirus disease. And so the resources, the tools that have been developed in these countries are being shifted to assist with the effort to battle the coronavirus. Now, we are still conducting full-fledged surveillance, keeping up with the cases around the world, but we've had to take a pause on the immunization activities. And that's going to slow things down a little bit. But it's more important than ever that we continue our financial support of the Polio Plus effort, that we come up with that $50 million so that we will receive the $100 million matching grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And that was the crux of the message that went out to the Rotary world yesterday. You know, Greg, right now, our communications staff at Rotary International headquarters, right, well, they're not really at Rotary International headquarters, they're in their homes all over the Chicago area, but they're working together and connected. They are working flat out. We have so many important messages that are going out. I hope many of you saw the video that was posted on the various Rotary social media channels, on the Rotary International President Facebook page, the Rotary International Facebook page, the Rotary International YouTube page, and some of the other social channels. And it's even on the front page of My Rotary, the My Rotary website, with my latest message regarding the current pandemic situation. You know, it's kind of interesting doing these messages in this time. I had lots of help in developing the message. I had the support of the communications team helping to draft the message and make sure I touched on all of the points that needed to be raised. But when it came time for production, it was a one-man show. I went to my law office, set up some boxes, cardboard boxes on the conference room table in the main conference room, had a tripod with my Rotary issued iPhone and my iPad sitting right next to it, on which I had downloaded a teleprompter app. And that teleprompter app has a voice recognition feature, so it would advance as I said the words. And there, that, you know, there's the phone, and here's the teleprompter, and I'm standing there. I punch the buttons and I smile and I just take off with it. And the teleprompter app really worked great until I got to the end. Right at the very end, I had 3 sentences where the sentences were almost identical and 1 or 2 words was changed. It was there for emphasis. Well, on that voice recognition app, when it sees a phrase, it goes immediately to the last one of the phrases that are similar. And so I had to say those last 3 sentences by memory because it was already to the end of the speech.
Yeah, I've used that teleprompter app. It's very helpful. You know, Mark, we have a lot of outbound students with Rotary Youth Exchange. And now we've got about half of them home, and that has really been a dicey thing because, you know, when you got kids traveling and they got to make a couple stops, they might get stuck somewhere. So I think we still got a couple more kids out, but how is that happen? Is that taken care of pretty much across the world? Have we gotten most of the kids home?
I'm not sure on the absolute numbers. And of course, what's being done is being done on a district by district basis. Each district is working with the host families and working with the parents of the youth exchange students. And they're each making their own decisions about what is the best way to go. Is it better to take the risk of traveling, or is it better to just shelter in place with your host family? I do not know the numbers or the proportions that have come home. I know that many, many have, and Rotary International staff is spending a considerable amount of time assisting the district leadership in addressing those issues. And, you know, flights are getting few and far between. Gay and I were actually traveling in Europe earlier this month, and in Africa, in Zimbabwe, and then in Europe, and had to come home early. And so I was signed up for all the alerts from 9 different countries, and I'm still getting those alerts. And, you know, we were supposed to be in Kosovo, and I'm getting the alerts from Kosovo, and it says, and it's the alerts to the US citizens in Kosovo. We never got there. And, you know, that if you want to head back to the States, you know, there's a flight on April 1st. Oops, now it's sold out. That'll get you to Zurich. And then there's a flight to Newark. Well, there's going to be another one, we think, on April 5th. And, you know, that's 4 days with no way to get back to the States from Kosovo except by one connection. So it's challenging times if you want to get back to the States and haven't done so. Fortunately, Gay and I changed our ticket to come home just 2 hours before President Trump announced that he would be imposing a travel ban on Europe. So we made it home very easily. There was no chaos at the airport, either at the departure airport in London or at the arrival airport in Chicago when we came home on March 12.
Well, that's good. So what have you all been looking at is what's going to be the big impact, do you think? Do you have any idea, or are we're really in uncharted territory here?
Well, we're certainly in uncharted territory. Do you know, Greg, that Rotary International has had a convention every year since 1910, including all the years of World War II until 2020. I'm the first Rotary International president not to have an international convention, but there was no choice. We couldn't bring thousands of people into one place and mix them all up and then let them spread the disease even further. But that's just an example of how this is uncharted territory. Some people think we're going to lose a large chunk of our members. because of lack of connection, because of loss of income, financial inability to continue to be a Rotarian. But on the other hand, this also provides us with an opportunity. We are connecting in new and different ways. Who could have predicted that Rotary Connects the World, our theme for this year, would have such meaning in the last 3 months of the year? Who could have predicted? It is incredible. I mean, it's almost like it's a God thing, that God was looking over my shoulder and said, you need a theme like this because of what's going to happen in the future. But I think we're seeing Rotary clubs that are having Zoom meetings, just like this meeting. And they're getting people, former members who live in now different parts of the country, coming back and connecting with them. Well, maybe they can reconnect with Rotary in a virtual way, or get motivated to join a Rotary club in their own area. I think that by having this virtual period, we are going to attract a lot of people who never would have thought of Rotary, who tune in and see the connection and see the wonderful things that Rotary is doing and will want to be a part of that. They may want to be a part of it in a virtual way, but talk about innovative and transformative clubs. We are seeing that here. We are having clubs going on Facebook Live, on Zoom, on many different ways. The last week, the Rotary Club of Birmingham, Alabama, and the Rotaract Club of Birmingham, Alabama had more than 400 participants in their Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I heard that. That's quite a meeting. But a lot of people don't realize that you have what, 600 in the Birmingham Club, and then another 300 interactors. Is that about right?
That's about right. 640 members of the Rotary Club, and I think 350 in the Rotaract Club. But still, that's far. I don't know about the Rotaract Club, but that's far more than the number of people the Rotary Club of Birmingham normally gets in person.
That's right. Well, I agree with you. I think this virtual, now that more people have been exposed to it, I mean, just like having you come talk to us in our district, clubs can have a speaker come talk to them anytime through Zoom. And with the two-way communication, it's really good. You just got to have a good connection where you're at. But we may see the formats of meeting change, where maybe once a month we have a virtual meeting or something like that. And who knows what's going to happen, but this is going to open up a lot of possibilities.
Well, we've been handed lemons, and Rotarians are making lemonade. I think many Rotary clubs are taking the financial resources that they otherwise would have put to meals and sending their club president-elect to the Rotary International Convention. They're going to put that into community support one way or the other. And it's just amazing how versatile and nimble Rotarians are. I mean, some Rotary clubs are a little slower. My own Rotary club, our first Zoom meeting is going to be next Monday, whereas some have been doing it ever since the first week that these restrictions were imposed.
Okay, thanks. Ed, do you have some questions for Mark?
We do. We've had a couple of questions come up on the comments on the YouTube page, Mark. And one of our Rotarians wonders if you know whether or not the labs that are making polio vaccine have been put to work in any capacity toward the COVID-19 virus or vaccine.
Of course, the polio vaccine is manufactured by commercial enterprises, and not by government laboratories. And I do not have any idea if specifically those pharmaceutical companies are working on the coronavirus vaccine or medicines. I have no personal knowledge on that.
Got it. We had another question about the Rotary Peace Centers around the world. And we wonder if you know whether or not those peace centers have also gone to distance learning. A lot of classes and schools have gone to a Zoom or another online format. Have the Rotary Peace Centers done the same?
I've not received specific information that that is the case, but I cannot imagine that it is not the case. All of these peace centers are located within larger universities. Duke University and University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And I assume that they are doing distance learning. The University of Bradford in England, all of England is locked down, so I'm sure they're working on distance learning. So I'm quite confident that many of the peace centers are doing distance learning. But to tell you the truth, I don't have actual personal knowledge that that is the case.
We had another question. One of our Rotarians wanted to know if the Rotary International Board has had any meetings since you vacated the offices in Evanston here 10 days or so ago.
Yes, on March 18, the Rotary International Board of Directors had its first ever virtual meeting. We operated through the platform Kudo, not Zoom, but Kudo. And Kudo provides the opportunity. There's something about its configuration that permits simultaneous interpretation in the background for those members of the board who do not speak English. And so we conducted that meeting. The meeting's conducted in English, but it was interpreted into 3 other languages: Italian, Japanese, and Korean. And that was the first ever. That was on March 18. We had a 90-minute meeting. It was a special called meeting on less than 2 days' notice, and it had one subject: whether to cancel the Rotary International Convention. And the meeting, as you know, the board took that decision. Let me, just to give you a little behind the scenes on the decision to cancel the convention. Perhaps Rotarians and Rotaractors are interested in some of this. As I said, on Thursday, March the 12th, Gay and I flew from London back to Chicago. We still had 18 days that we were still supposed to be traveling. We weren't due home until last night. But on March the 12th, we flew to Chicago. And on Friday, the 13th of March, I met with the staff at Rotary International headquarters, and we were talking about how we were going to extend registration deadlines and cancellation deadlines for the convention. On Saturday and Sunday, Gay and I stayed pretty close to home in the condo, in the Rotary International condo that is provided for us in Evanston. And I was just scouring the news and reading articles. And I was really impressed with these articles about flattening the curve, how you needed not to have people mixing, that you needed to isolate and segregate yourselves so that there would not be this mixture in order not to promote the disease. And by Sunday morning, I was convinced that we needed to cancel the convention. And on Monday afternoon, at Monday afternoon, right after lunch, I personally had a telephone call with Dr. Bruce Aylward at the World Health Organization in Geneva. And some Rotarians may remember Dr. Aylward because he was the head person overseeing the polio eradication activities for the World Health Organization for many years. And he is a great friend of Rotary. He's a Canadian physician from Newfoundland, now lives in Geneva and works out of out of World Health Organization headquarters. I asked him, I'd pretty much made up my mind, but I asked him one question. I said, do you see any reasonably anticipated scenario where we could have the convention in Honolulu with thousands of people without creating an unreasonable risk? And his answer was unequivocally no. And so that confirmed what I'd already been thinking. And at 2:30 that afternoon, I joined a Zoom meeting and announced to the staff that I thought we needed to be canceling the convention. Now, that's not something that a Rotary International president can do on his own. The convention is provided for in the Constitution of Rotary International. And so we decided we needed a meeting of the board of directors. And from 2:30 on Monday, we put together the very first Rotary International virtual board of directors meeting. And that happened at 8 o'clock. It was 8 o'clock in Evanston. That was, for some directors, that was 6 a.m. out in California. For others, that was 10 p.m. in Japan and Korea. And we had that meeting that I described to you previously. And then through the rest of that day, the Rotary International staff executed a communications plan that was flawless. We had to first, we couldn't just tell Rotarians we were canceling the meeting because some people needed to find out from us, the vendors, the people that we use year in and year out for stage production and for logistics, the transportation company in Honolulu, the convention center in Honolulu, the hotels in Honolulu. They needed to find out, not by hearing it through the grapevine, they needed to hear it from Rotary International staff. Then we needed to notify all of the Rotary leaders, the governors, that this was happening, and then put a message out to all of the registrants in the Rotary world. So it was 52 hours from 2:30 on Monday, when I first told the staff that I thought we needed to cancel, till 6:30 on Wednesday evening, when that blast email went out to all registrants. In 52 hours, the Rotary International staff orchestrated the cancellation, the messaging, the board meeting to approve it, all in that time period. So that's just a little behind the scenes of what went on there. And the staff did a fabulous job.
Greg, excuse me, Mark, let me ask you, on the subject of convention cancellation, do you know if there's a plan in the works to have people who have already registered and paid their registration fee to allow their registration fee to carry over to the 2021 convention in Taiwan?
There is definitely not a plan to have the registration fees carry over to Taiwan. One reason is that the registration fee for Taiwan is actually less than the registration fee for Honolulu, because Honolulu, Hawaii is such a more expensive destination. However, there is a plan to permit Rotarians to divert their refund to the disaster response fund of the Rotary Foundation so that it can be used to fund these disaster response grants that are being made for coronavirus relief. That has been worked out, but it won't be announced publicly. I mean, it's not a secret, but don't put this out on social social media, we've got a messaging campaign that we want to follow on that.
Might be too late. You might have just let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah,
One of our
I probably shouldn't have said that. But I mean, if anyone asked, we would tell them that that would be happening.
got one other question along that line. We had a Rotarian ask whether or not the Rotary International Board has had conversations about a coordinated Rotary effort to help with the current pandemic. Are you aware of anything like that?
The Rotary International Board will have its meeting in April, and that's the week of April 20th, I believe it is, and it will be a virtual meeting, and we will address all of those issues at that time.
Great. We look forward to hearing the outcome of that. We had a Rotarian ask whether clubs should plan to cancel all face-to-face meetings for the month of April. Any input on that?
Well, that's a local decision to be made, but it seems to me that since President Trump has said that we should maintain social distancing through April 30th, I would think that all face-to-face events should be canceled through that same time frame.
I know my own Rotary Club has canceled their meetings through the month of April, and we did our first online meeting today. Last week's online meeting here with the district was at noon, and the governor moved it because a lot of the clubs that normally meet at noon on Tuesdays were going to start up their own online meetings and didn't want them to conflict. Greg, that's all the questions we have from the folks in the meeting right now. We've got 121 people on, which is a nice turnout. Thank you. But I'll throw it back to you, Greg.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Oh, Greg, your microphone's muted.
I was holding down the space bar. I don't know. My direction to the district has been to cancel all through April. We initially said April 22nd because we were going to have our district conference on the 17th and 18th. But now, at least through April, and then we'll figure out where we go from there. We're pushing our district conference maybe to July, have a one-day conference so we can give out awards and things like that. Golf tournament has been rescheduled to July 25th if we can do it. I mean, June 25th, but we'll just have to see. It's good, Mark, to see that Bill Gates is involved with this as well. I mean, what a guy he is, right? I mean, he's really been great to us, and now he's playing with this as well. So, Mark, you got any last words of wisdom for us as we go through this?
Well, I just want to thank all Rotarians for what they're doing during this time frame. The number one thing is that we must do everything that we can to flatten the curve. And that means social distancing. And that means not going out in crowds. That means limiting your contact with others as much as possible. And that's what every person should be doing, whether you're a Rotarian or not. But as Rotarians, please make the effort to make those connections, to maintain the connections through Zoom meetings such as this. And I will be on several Zoom meetings. They're scheduled, not canceled. They're being scheduled for the next several weeks. And I've agreed to participate in many of them. But also be in touch with your local officials to see what you can do to help. Provide financial resources, financial support to those organizations, to first responders, to the health facilities, to make sure that we can address this situation as effectively as possible.
Yeah, and I think staying in touch with your members is really key, and anybody can need help, and how do we help them? And but staying in touch is very important. So Mark, I want to thank you for taking time, and you be safe and well, and same with Gay, and then we'll hopefully see you in person one of these days.
Yes. Well, Greg, thank you for being one of the Aloha governors this year, and for all that you're doing there in District 6780, our neighboring district to the north. And that's that way from me for here. And y'all take care. Thank you to everyone who participated in this meeting. Ed, what's the final count on the number of people who've joined us today?
Our high point, we got a little over 120. I think I saw 123 at one point, which is not a bad turnout for 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on what time zone you're sitting in. I think we've had people check in from other places around the world too. So thank you for joining us, President Mark. Your message is definitely getting out.
And I think we would have had more if we didn't have to switch from Facebook too. That really kind of messed things up. So, all right, adios, Mark. Thanks, Ed. Bye, everybody. Be safe.
Thanks.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Sign off. I want to give a plug for next week's meeting. It will also be on Tuesday. It will likely be this same hour. The governor and I are working on a couple of speakers who can discuss the CARE Act that just went through Congress. Greg, you asked me to start working on that. I've got a couple of positive answers already, so you can tune in and get some good information from your fellow Rotarians about how the CARE Act might be able to help you and your business get through the economic times that I'm afraid are in front of us. Greg?
Okay, very good. Yes, I plan on doing this every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, unless something changes. And like I said, we're going to try to have, we'll take suggestions for speakers as well. But I thought having someone to talk about the CARE Act, especially from a standpoint of an entrepreneur, a business owner, self-employed, hopefully we'll get some good information for you. So Ed, thank you again for helping out, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week. Stay healthy.
Thank you. You too.